Hi everyone, this is Nick, and I'm so excited to share this video tutorial with you. It's going to combine a whole bunch of different techniques that we know in PowerPoint to create a really visually engaging report style. It's not a traditional report style. This is more of like a slide deck that you want to send to your reader and have them click through almost like a dashboard so that they can sort of click on different options and see different charts. Now that's going to be one component of this tutorial. The other component is to talk about shape morphology or chart morphology, and this is a concept that I saw over on Twitter from Jan Holtz. I'm going to put his link in the show notes below. He has an awesome newsletter called DataViz Universe that I just subscribed to. He has a whole wealth of knowledge, not in Excel and PowerPoint, but he uses tools like D3 and Python and R. Those are tools that are way above my skill level, but I love Excel and PowerPoint, as we all do. So I'm going to try to see if I could do a few things that he did in his blog post, but use PowerPoint to do it. Now, I wanted to just show off this little technique for you right now. You can see right here, we have this pie chart here. It's selected pie on the top. If I was a reader and looking on this screen, I can take my mouse and click it over to donut, and it's going to give me the same chart, but in a donut format. So if I click on it right here, it's going to morph into a donut. Pretty cool. And if I click on the bar option, it's going to now morph that into a bar, and these are exactly proportioned correctly to the actual data that underlies these charts. The same thing with a column. And then in this way, this is just a PowerPoint slide deck right here, I can actually skip different ones. I don't have to go from pie to donut to bar to column. I can go back to donut, and it will morph into that donut. Or I can go back to the pie here, and I can go back to the bar here. Kind of like a choose your own adventure PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to escape out of the slide. And I first want to show you the DataViz Universe post that Jan made that I saw over on Twitter. His post was about what's wrong with pie charts, and it's a really interesting conversation, a really interesting blog post. We know that 3D pie charts are horrible. One of the bad things about pie charts is that they can be really difficult to see patterns across different types of data. So if you want to compare many charts together or many series of data, here's an example of 3 pie charts here. It's really hard to spot the patterns, and then he shows that same data in column charts, and you can definitely see the trends or the patterns much more easily. If you scroll down to his post, he then shows you some things that he's been playing with in D3. And this is kind of the shape morphism that he calls it, or the chart morph. So it's morphing from this pie or this donut chart to a bar plot, and he can just click on the top and have those charts morph. It's a really interesting technique. And we can kind of do this similarly in PowerPoint with the wonderful morph transition that we've created before. Now, I have made a video on DataViz morphs before, and I'll link that above, but that was just made in PowerPoint slides with shapes that weren't exact data. This tutorial today is going to show you how we can build morph into slides and actually morph the charts. It can be a little bit unwieldy, but follow along with the steps. It's pretty fun once you do it, and it'll be really interesting to send this slide deck to your reader. And stay tuned till the very end. I'm going to show you a really quick trick that you can use to save the file, send it to someone, and it will automatically open in a full screen mode so that they can work with it just like I did on the screen by clicking the different sort of slicer options at the top. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to start with a blank PowerPoint slide. And I like to use this default layout. We're going to keep this text or this content placeholder here because I want the charts to be the exact same. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to insert a chart. So I'm going to click on this and we're going to insert the pie chart. I'm going to use just fake data today because we don't really need real data for this, but I want to show you in order to show you the technique. So I'm just going to go ahead and update these slices. Let's just say this is like 80, this will be 75, and then this will be, let's see, 89, and then this will be 64. Okay, so we have our pie that is kind of like this. Now, normally we would want to be doing this in percentages, of course, and everything would have to equal 100%. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to show you the techniques here. So this would be whatever chart that you have, whatever type of data you would put in that list, and never use a pie chart, obviously, unless your data sort of sum to 100%, right? We already know that. So I'm going to keep this. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the sales. title and get rid of the legend. We don't need that for the purposes of this. I'm actually also going to get rid of this chart title because I'm going to eventually use some different titles for that. Let's go ahead and just recolor the slices so that they look just like I did before. I'm going to double click, isolate this. I'm going to go ahead and recolor this to that aqua color. This is going to be recolored to the red, and then this is going to be recolored to the yellow. So I really like that option there. Okay, so now what we need to do, we have this live chart here in PowerPoint. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to duplicate this by pushing Control D, and I'm going to put it off to the side on the pasteboard. I always want to keep a live version of my chart because in order to morph these charts, we're going to have to change them into shapes. And so then you won't be able to edit the data. So if you ever wanted to go back and edit the data of a chart, I like to keep the live chart off to the side so that we can always go back to it if we need to. This is still a live chart, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this 3 more times. So all we have to do to duplicate the slide and the chart along with it is push Control D. So I'm going to push Control D on the slide. That's 1, 2, and 3. All right, so now let's change this second slide to a donut chart. When you copy, highlight the chart here, go up to the Chart Design tab, and click over here under Type. We're going to say Change Chart Type, and over here under the Pie section, I'm going to select Donut. So let's go ahead and click that and click OK. And now our chart has become a donut. Perfect. Same data, different chart. Let's go to the next one. Let's go ahead and change this. The same technique. We're going to change this to a bar chart right here. And now we're going to have to do a little bit of editing. So I want that blue bar to be on the top. So what I'm going to do is click on the y-axis here, go over to the Format Axis menu, Axis Options, and click on this little button here that says Categories in Reverse Order. That's going to flip the order so the blue is on top. Now I want to get rid of all the extra stuff in this chart. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that y-axis if it will let me. Oops, let's go click undo there. Okay, the y-axis is gone. We're going to click on the x-axis and delete that. And then we're going to delete the grid lines. Perfect. All right, and let's just go ahead and change the gap width just a little bit. I'm going to put this down to 50 so that the bars are a little bit bigger for us. And then on this chart, we're going to change it to a column chart. So let's go ahead, Design tab, Chart Type, and Column Chart right here. Now we're going to do the same thing. Let's go ahead and reduce the gap width to 50%. Oops, that was 500%. 50% there, and then again we're going to get rid of all the extras. So we're going to get rid of the grid lines and the axis labels. Perfect. So now we have our 4 different chart types, the same data but different charts. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to convert these charts to shapes, and we're going to do that by cutting the chart and then pasting it back as an SVG, a scalable vector graphic. So what we need to do here for the pie, we're going to go ahead, right click, and I'm going to cut. Now I'm going to highlight the placeholder again because I want the new graphic to fill the exact size that it just was. We're going to go up to the Paste Special menu here, Paste Special, and then click on Picture SVG. So I'm going to click on that and say OK. Now I have the same pie chart, but it's actually an image. So if I were to right click on this, there's no live chart menu that pops up. I can't edit the data anymore, but we do have that live chart off to the pasteboard, off to the side on the pasteboard. So we can always update our chart again and have to go through the steps again. But this would be a good thing if all of your data is final. You're going to put it like this. We're going to cut it out and paste it as an SVG. Okay, so now I'm going to do that same thing with the other charts. We're going to go ahead and say cut, highlight that placeholder, paste special, SVG. Perfect. And I'm going to do the same thing with the bar, cut, highlight the placeholder, paste special, SVG, and then the same thing with the column chart. Cut, highlight the placeholder, paste special, and SVG. Okay, so now we have 4 different chart types. They are now SVG graphics. They are not live charts anymore. So now what we need to do is we need to ungroup the chart shapes, and then we're going to name them in a very specific way that that will allow PowerPoint to understand that we want it to morph the shapes over the next few slides. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and say right-click. We're going to ungroup. When we click ungroup, you get this pop-up menu. We're just going to say yes. And then I'm going to ungroup one more time. So we need to ungroup this twice. Now you can see it has my 4 slices. These are my 4 shapes. Now what I'm going to do over here is go to the selection menu up here on the under the editing menu. We're going to go to the selection pane. This is where you can see all of the elements that live on your slide. And you can see I have these 4 freeform shapes and then this content placeholder, which is for the live chart that we have off to the pasteboard. So anything on the slide or anything around it will show up in the selection pane. If I click here on this freeform shape, you can see that highlights the blue. And what I'm going to do is rename this. And you have to do it in a very specific way. We're going to start with 2 exclamation points. This is called Bang Bang Morph. Probably the best named PowerPoint feature ever. So we're going to go ahead and say 2 exclamation points, no space. I'm going to say blue, just so that I know that this is the blue slice. We're going to click on the next one. This is the aqua slice. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 exclamation points, aqua. And then the red slice is right here. Let's do this. 2 exclamation points, red. I want to make this all the same. And just remember how you label these, because you're going to have to name them the exact same way on the next few slides too. So 2 exclamation points and yellow. Okay, awesome. Now we have this. Now what I'm going to do is that same process for every single other chart that I want to morph into. So we're right here. We have our live chart, or we have the SVG graphic. I'm going to go ahead and ungroup this, and I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut. We're going to do Shift-Control-G. That's going to ungroup the group. That pop-up pops up. I'm going to push Enter to say yes, and then Shift-Control-G again. That will ungroup everything. Now I have the donut slices here. Let's go ahead and do that same thing for the blue. You have to make sure that they're all going to match. So Bang Bang Blue. Then we're going to do Bang Bang Aqua. Bang Bang Aqua. Bang Bang Red. Bang Bang Yellow. Perfect. All right, let's do this another time. Let's do this with the bar chart here. We're going to do Control-Shift-G, Enter, Control-Shift-G again to ungroup twice. All right, and then we have to go through this. So make sure that you're highlighting the blue. This is going to be the yellow. When you click on this, it'll show you which shape it's actually highlighting here. So we're going to say yellow. Red, Bang Bang Red, and Bang Bang Aqua. All right, now we have to do this one more time. We're going to ungroup, Control-Shift-G, Enter, Control-Shift-G. Perfect. Now everything is ungrouped into its shapes. Let's go ahead and select the blue. It's right here, the freeform shape 10. Bang Bang Blue. This is the yellow again. Bang Bang Yellow. Oops. Make sure that you're typing in the exact same names on the selection pane. Bang Bang Red and our Bang Bang Aqua. Bang Bang Aqua. Okay, perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to show you what happens here in slideshow mode. What we're going to do is we're going to highlight all the cells and go up to the Transitions tab and click on the Morph transition. So now anything on those 4 slides will be morphed through as it goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. So let's go ahead and put this in slideshow mode and see what it looks like. All right, I'm going to click over the right arrow button to go to the next slide, and it morphs into that next shape. You can see all of those shapes are morphing exactly as I wanted it to. If I click the left arrow, go backwards, it's going to morph backwards now too. Perfect. Really, really nice. Okay, I'm going to escape out of this. Now we have our morph set up. Now I want to create those slicers, those interactive buttons that will take me to the different shapes. And we have slides 1 through 4 here. So let's go ahead and insert a box. I'm just going to insert a regular old box right here. And I'm going to type in this box, pi, because this is where we are right here. I'm going to go ahead and increase the size here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make this a blank box, kind of a white box with just a black border around it. And then I'm going to duplicate it, Control-D, donut, Control D again. We're going to say this bar. Control D again, and we're going to say column. Now, I'm pretty sure these are evenly distributed, but I'm going to make sure that they are. So highlight all of them. Use your align tools. We're going to align them to the middle, and then we're going to distribute horizontally. So it's perfect. It was already done because the Control D allows us to do that when you're moving the shapes like that. All right, so now I want everyone to know that we are on the pie slice here. So I'm going to add some color to this, and I already have kind of like a little gradient that I've pre-prepared here. So I have this gradient color fill with all the colors in the chart, and then now I want this to be bold, and I want it to be white. So we're going to change the color to white right here. Perfect. Okay, now this is really nice. Now what we're going to do is we are going to, just on this first slide, we're going to hyperlink each of these buttons to the slide that we want it to move to in our sort of fake little dashboard here. So we're going to go ahead and right click and then click on link. Now this is where you could add a website link, a hyperlink, or you could link to a different place in the document. So you can see I have this set to place in document, and I want this to link to slide 1. It's already on slide 1, but this is going to help when we duplicate these for the next slide. So click on slide 1, and that's going to take us to slide 1. The donut, we want to take us to slide 2. So the same thing, we're going to link slide 2, click OK. The bar, we're going to link again. This is going to be slide 3. And then the column, we will link to slide 4. Perfect. All right. Now, on the donuts, now what we need to do is we're going to copy all of our slicer boxes right here. Just push, select them all, push Control C. We'll go to the donut, and we're going to say Control V to paste. One thing I love about PowerPoint is that when you copy something on one slide and paste it to another, it takes the exact same position on the slide. So that's a pretty cool thing about PowerPoint that Word doesn't exactly give us in other reporting. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to go ahead with those same buttons on the clipboard. We're going to say Control V to paste again, and we'll say Control V to paste again. Now there's a little bit of a user thing that we want to do here. We want the pie to be highlighted on the pie chart slide. We want the donut to be highlighted on the donut chart slide. So I want the same color and format. Here's a little keyboard shortcut trick to copy exact formatting from one shape to another. What I'm going to do is highlight this, and I'm going to push Shift Control V, or Shift Control C, sorry, this is like a Control C for copy, but instead Shift Control C gives the copy of the formatting. And then I'm going to highlight the donut and say Shift Control V. Perfect, so now it gives me the exact same formatting. So now I want the pie to be empty, and I want that to be the same format of the bar. So I'm going to do Shift Control C and Shift Control V. This is going to save you lots of time in formatting. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for the bar. Shift Control C and Shift Control V, and then I'm going to highlight the donut, Shift Control C, and make that the pie. And then we'll do this for the column too. Shift Control C to the column, and Shift Control C there, and Shift Control V. Now we have our slides highlighted and formatted exactly, I think, how we want them. So the pie is highlighted there, the donut is highlighted here, the bar is highlighted here, and the column is highlighted there. So now what we need to do, since we hyperlinked all of these on the first slide, they should be hyperlinked to the same slides on all the other ones. So let's just see if that's true. Actually, let's just put it into slideshow mode and see if it works. I'm going to go ahead and put it into slideshow mode here. We have the pie. Let's click on the donut and see what happens. Perfect. It goes to the donut. Now the bar. Now the column. And the true test is if you can do it out of order, and it goes back to my donuts. So pretty. Isn't that cool? This is cool. We're not using any sort of real data points with these charts right here, but you could use this in any number of ways with charts that you have in your own research evaluation, whatever type of data you are trying to present to your audience. And I have to say, I have to give a really good shout out to Nolan Hames at Nolan Hames Creative. He's the first person that I saw use this sort of chart morph trick. He did it in a different way with a different chart type over on his video, but I'll link his video down below too. It's a really cool technique. And before, where I was just morphing, you know, shapes that weren't really based in data, now we have a way that we can morph one chart type to another chart type in PowerPoint by using the and also using the exact same data in those live charts. It's a pretty cool trick, and I would love to know how you use this. So we have our kind of interactive choose your own adventure dashboard in PowerPoint technique here, and we have the chart morphology or the shape morphology that Jan Holtz talked about in his blog post over there, where he was using D3 to do the same thing. So I hope, I just want to thank those folks for giving us all this wonderful information, all these wonderful skills, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to hit the bell next to it too, so that you'll get notified every time I post a new video in data design, usually Excel, PowerPoint, or Word. I had a great time making this video for you, and I will see you all next time. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you one of the most fun things, which is how to save this PowerPoint file so that when you send it to somebody, it will open up in full screen mode automatically. You won't get this normal slide view that you would normally get if you send a regular PowerPoint presentation to somebody else. So all you need to do is save it as a different file type. Instead of a PowerPoint presentation, we're going to save it as a PowerPoint show. So let's go up here to the File menu, save a copy. I'm going to go ahead and just say we're going to save this on my desktop, and under the PowerPoint presentation file type as, just go click on that drop down menu and we can go down here to PowerPoint show. Let's save it as a PowerPoint show, and I'm going to go ahead and just name it show at the end so I know that's what it is. We're going to click on save. Now let's close out of my PowerPoint presentation here, and then what I'm going to do is I will drag the PowerPoint show over here so you can see this is my file here, my PowerPoint show file. When I double click on this to open it, it should open in full screen mode, and I as the reader will be able to interact with that dashboard that we created here. So double click, and let's see if it will open, and it opens right in full screen mode, and I can go ahead and use our data dashboard report in PowerPoint just as we intended. Super, super cool. All right. I don't need to go through the whole like and subscribe speech because I just did it before. But again, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Mwah.